Okay, hello boys and girls. I wanted to make a short video to kind of show you a little bit about a few ways to use your crayons and your pencils, because we do a lot of drawing and a lot of coloring, so I figured it would be a good idea to teach you a few of the techniques that we use in art class with our crayons and pencils. So what is this word techniques? Well, techniques just means the way or how we use art materials. Okay? Techniques just means the way or how we use art materials. So let's see some ways that we can use our crayons and our pencils in art to help us become better artists. Let's start out with crayons. Okay, so there are three techniques that are helpful with crayons when we are creating our artwork. So first technique is just called small circles. Okay, small circles, when we use our crayons, we're just going to, instead of coloring back and forth and back and forth, one way you can use crayons is you can do small circles over and over and over and over and over so that you get a nice, smooth, even color. Okay, that is one technique, one way or how we can use our art materials. So small circles, just around and around and around and around and around, and as they overlap, can give you a very smooth, cool looking effect. That is one way that we could use crayons. Okay? Another way that we could use them is called cross-hatching. Okay? Cross-hatching is where we take a crayon and we're going to go one way, nice, smooth, even lines back and forth, the same pressure. I'm not making any part of it harder or lighter. Same pressure, back and forth, back and forth. Notice how my lines are all nice and smooth and even, and I don't leave any white space. Then I'm going to come back over it, and this time I went this way, but now I'm going to go the other way. Nice, smooth, even lines. I'm always pressing the same. I'm not making any part of it harder than the other part or lighter. Even pressure. Nice smooth lines, not leaving any white space. Okay, that is called cross-hatching. Makes a nice smooth, even color there. Next one, I'm just going to call even lines. And this one's really important when using crayons. Okay, so for even lines, I'm going to use a purple here. And it's sort of like the cross-hatching. When we color with crayon to get a nice smooth color, I do not grind my crayon into the paper. I just use a nice even, steady pressure, not pushing really, really hard. And I just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth so that all my lines go the same direction and they're nice and even. Even lines. Okay. Now up here I'm going to show you something not to do. I'm going to exit out when I'm done. So one thing you don't want to do with crayons is you don't want to color really, really hard at first like this. Okay? Because what's going to happen if you just color really, really hard and you don't make smooth, even lines, you're going to get all of these shavings and just all of these parts of the crayon that just kind of fall off, and it doesn't look very good, okay? The only reason you want to do this is if you did it on purpose. If you were making, I don't know, maybe you're making a monster or something, but it leaves a lot of crayon pieces and shavings all over, just like when you erase, and it doesn't look very good. So we're going to X that one out. That is not something that we're going to do, okay? So those are 3 ways that you can use your crayons, and we're going to add another way here. I'm just going to say hard outline. Well, let's pretend that you were drawing something. Maybe we're drawing a bunny rabbit, okay? So I'm going to just kind of make the outline. If you had a coloring page, or if you were drawing something, just going to do a cute little bunny rabbit here. I hope he looks like a bunny rabbit. I think he does. Anyways, if you were doing a bunny rabbit and you wanted to do a hard outline, what you would do is you take your crayon, and this is a spot where you can press a little bit harder. You would do the outline, the out part, follow the lines with your crayon, pressing pretty hard, but still keeping it smooth and even. And the inside, you would use something like even lines or cross-hatching or small circles and just color it in lightly. That's another way that you can use your crayons as well. There's those shavings, but I can just brush them off, okay? So I would color this in very lightly using even lines or small circles or okay, so you can do all kinds of great things with crayons. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about with crayons is how to build up color. Okay, how to build up color. How do you make a color brighter? Okay, how do you make a color brighter? And how do you fill in white space? Okay, so first one, how do we build up color and make it brighter? So if I color with a crayon, and I kind of color like this, it's not very bright, and there's a lot of white space. So what I'm going to do is instead of pushing, remember again, like we said on the first page here, you don't just want to push really hard the first time. That never really looks very good, and it leaves a lot of white space. So how do we build up the color and make it brighter and fill in the white space? Well, I've started, and I just kind of was coloring, and there's a lot of white space left, so how I can do that is if I want to make this brighter, fill in the white space, I just go back over it again. I'm not pressing any harder than I was the first time. Okay, that makes it a little bit brighter, and I'm going to go over it again. I'm not pressing any harder. All I'm doing is building up the color. I am just adding more and more and more color on top of it, still trying to keep even lines, or you can do this with small circles, or you can do it with cross-hatching. But the more that you go over something, it will build up the color brighter and brighter and brighter, little by little. So this takes some time, but it makes a nice, smooth, even color and fills in your white space. That's a way that you can build up the color. Okay, let's take a look at pencil and what we can do with pencil. What's cool about pencil is you can use all of the same techniques with pencil that you were using with crayons. So really, if we just cover these up over here, we can actually use all of these same techniques with pencil. So there's 2 more things I want to show you with pencil as well. With pencil, we should always we should always draw lightly at first. That way, it is easier to erase, and it makes correcting mistakes a lot easier. Okay? Draw lightly at first. Okay? A couple of other things. We should hold the pencil loosely. And I'm going to show you what that means. So when we hold a pencil, okay, we're not going to grip it really, really tight like this and really, really grind the lead into the paper. We're not going to do that. We're going to hold the pencil loosely. The pencil can wiggle a little bit in your hand, okay? It can wiggle a little bit. It should feel a little bit loose in your hand, okay? That way, when you go to draw, I'll draw that little bunny. Well, maybe I won't draw. Maybe I'll draw that bunny again. That way, when you go to draw, and drawing lightly at first, hold your pencil loosely. It should wiggle a little bit in your hand, okay? That way, when you go to draw, and drawing lightly, your hand should feel free and relaxed. And if you need to draw over your lines a couple of times to get the right shape or the right thing that you're trying to do, that's fine as well. But your pencil should feel kind of loose and a little bit free in your hand. It shouldn't feel like you have a tight, tight grip on it. Okay? And then why do we say draw lightly at first? Let's say I made a mistake with this one and I want to erase. Okay? So if I want to erase, when I go to erase, I'm also going to hold the pencil loosely and very lightly back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I erase. Okay? So I can either do it that way, back and forth, or I can do short little strokes like this that almost pick up the pencil off the paper. But I should always do it lightly. I should never grind the eraser into the paper. Okay, very lightly, and that makes erasing very, very clean and even. Hold the pencil loose and lightly, lightly, lightly use the eraser as well. Okay, so let's go back to these techniques here. With crayons, I can do the same ones with pencil. So I can do small circles. Again, I'm holding the pencil loosely. Small circles. Okay. I can do cross hatching. So I go one way, and I do another way. Nice even pressure, keeping my lines all going the same direction. I can do just even lines, not leaving any white space. All the lines go the same direction, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay? Another one that's cool that you can do with pencil is the smudge. You can smudge it, and all you do with a smudge is you take your finger, and your hand naturally has some oils on them that your body makes, and it actually can use it to your advantage. And what it does is it smooths things out. So I can take these smooth lines, and I'm going to get pencil on my thumb, but that's okay. And you can smudge it, and it makes it nice and smooth. Okay? Let's try another one here. Everybody has some natural oils on their hands, and you can actually use it to help create the effect that you want in art. You can smudge it. Kind of cool, huh? Okay, so those are some of the techniques that you can use for crayons and pencils. And again, technique just simply means the way or how we use our materials.